I wish this story was clickbait. Yo, what is up, human beings? It's your boy, Ollie. This story I'm about to tell you is very crazy and very true. So this all took place a few years ago when I was 16. I got my first real job in the fast food industry, and I worked in a fast food chicken restaurant that was not Popeyes. I believe it started in Kentucky. I don't know. Come for me. So I started working there, and everywhere I go, I make it pretty clear that I'm into women, and if anyone has a problem with it, then they can leave. A very out at the time lesbian, and this manager, let's call her Carla. So Carla is an out bisexual, and she makes it very clear that she likes me. Now, keep in mind, at this time, the first thing everybody notices about her is how she has no teeth and how she's very, very, very skinny. From the start, I didn't reciprocate any of her advances, and I was very clear that I wasn't into it. And I don't know why I didn't report her, but I probably should have. So every single day, every single shift, she'd come up to me and she'd say something along the lines of, "You're really hot for a minor. If you were 18, I'd sleep with you." And even though she was trying to when I was 16. It's very obvious at this point that she's into very hard drugs. I'm not sure if she does heroin, but I definitely know she smoked crack, and she snorted coke, and she smoked weed, which wasn't that bad. At the point, I hit my 30 hours for the week, because if you're under 18 in New Hampshire, you can't work more than 30 hours a week, even though I worked way more than 40, but those other hours were off the clock, and I didn't get paid for them. So basically, this manager, Carla, could not handle her shit if I wasn't there. She did not know how to do her job. So she was calling me and texting me after I had left already from my shift, and she was like, please come in and help me out, just help me close, off the clock, it'll be fine, afterwards we can hang out or something. And so I didn't have any plans. I was fine, I'll come back later and I'll work a few hours off the clock. So I went home, I took a shot of something, I don't remember. I wasn't buzzed or anything. So I went in, I worked a few hours, and I was exhausted because I had worked the whole day prior. I was going through some heavy shit with this girl I was in love with. So I was you know what, I just kind of want to get fucked up tonight. I just kind of want to have fun for the 4th of July. And so Carla was you know what, my friend is gonna come swing by and walk me to his place. You're welcome to join us and smoke weed. So I was you know what, yeah, whatever, I'm not gonna pass up free weed for working all these hours. And at the time, I had stopped smoking weed for a while, and then at that point, that night was the first time I'd smoked in a long time. And at this point, I don't fucking smoke the devil's lettuce. But if you do, that's chill. You do you, man. So I walk with her and her friend, her fuck buddy, and her daughter. Yeah, she has a kid. Some people shouldn't be allowed to have kids, but that's besides the point. So we were walking back, and he was saying, "Wow, I'm old enough to be your dad." And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah, you're 45, you're old enough to be my fucking dad." And he's like, "Wow, if you were 18, I would totally fuck you." And I was like, "Oh, no. Oh, fuck no." I was like, fuck no. Oh my god, I was immediately fucking creeped out. Especially the part of town we were in was so shitty. So I was I was in a position where I could have easily been taken advantage of. I could have easily been raped or drugged. And I'm so lucky to have come out of this whole thing with only a few wounds here. So I was in a very vulnerable position, and of course, you know, I'm used to being around these people at this point, so I'm not like scared or anything. So we walk back to this notorious like crack den where all the crackheads go, and they like rent out one room out of like this huge building. You rent it by like one room. So like all the crackheads and heroin addicts and like all these like drug users, that's where they all flock to. So this is where he was staying. So we go into this scary place, and he's like, stay behind me, like if anyone comes to attack you, like I got you. So I'm like, shit, like just walking into this place, I could tell how bad it was. Like I got such bad vibes from this place, but I went in anyways because I was like, you know, whatever. Keep in mind, like I had changed at this point, so I was wearing something like kind of showy, but like it wasn't bad. So we all went into this room, and she's changing. So Carla is over here changing out of her work clothes. And of course, me being a respectful person did not look at her while she was changing. I looked away because that's just respectful. And also, why would I want to see that when earlier she was talking about her rash all over her body and how it was itchy and red, and she wasn't sure if it was contagious. So obviously, I'm not looking because I don't want to see that. And second of all, I'm just respectful. So she's like, no, hun, like you can look. Like she wanted me to look at her. And I'm like, no, like I'm good. I just said like, I was like, okay. And then I like did not look. And so her fucking fuck buddy over here is staring her down. It was so creepy. She kept trying to get me to like look at her and like be attracted to her or whatever, and I was like not having it, like no. So I used to smoke a lot way before that, so I like was pretty familiar with like what being high felt like, and this felt completely different. I'm not sure if they drugged it or slipped something else in there. I am not 100% sure. So all of a sudden Carla comes out of nowhere and kisses me. Now, keep in mind, she has no teeth. The teeth she has are all stubby and black and rotting out of her head. So I was obviously taken back. And at this point, I was dating somebody else, and I wasn't into this at all. I was never into this. So it took me a second because, you know, I was high, I was impaired, I was like so out of it. And I pulled back and I was like, what? Like, I was like, no. I was like, what? Like, what was that? And she was like, sorry, like, I didn't think you got a good enough hit. And I was like, that was not even close to what you were trying to do. That's not even close. I was like, at this point, I was into this other girl, so I was like, no, like, even if I wasn't, I wouldn't be about that either way. So that was completely unasked for, unprovoked. I didn't do anything to, like, make it seem like I would want that. So now her creepy ass fuck buddy, 45 years old or something, like turns around and he's like, wow, like do that again. And he's like looking us up and down, like really creepy. Could not see his hands, so I don't know what the fuck he was doing, and I don't want to know. Like, that's fucking gross. At this point, keep in mind, I was 16, so these two grown adults who had probably drugged me in this fucking crack den was like almost like holding me hostage here. So I was at this point scared that they would come and rape me, because at this point I had drugs in my system. I was impaired, you know, I was kind of fucked up. So I was like, you know, I really need to get out of here. Like, I was trying to get a hold of the girl at the time that I was seeing, and she wasn't answering. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go check on this. I'm gonna go check on her. She worked with all of us too, so Carla knew who I was talking about. They tried to convince me to stay. They're like, no, like, don't leave, come on, like, we're having such a good time, like, trying to, like, coax me to stay. And I was like, fuck no, I'm not getting raped. Like, no fucking thank you. So after that, I was so shocked. I was like, why the fuck would she come and kiss me? Like, that's, like, gross. Like, I didn't ask for that. So I was like, I need to get the fuck out of here before something bad happens. And I left. And so he walked me out. I got out of there and I started walking. I could barely walk. I was stumbling around. Some chick just pulled up and started eating a sandwich next to my car.
Same.
So as I was saying, he walked me out because it wasn't safe to even be in that building. Like the way I was dressed or my age, someone could easily come up and rob me or rape me. So he walks me out, and keep in mind, it's like 2 a.m. at least at this point. So I'm wandering the streets, stumbling around, I can barely walk, and I get the frick out of there. I get home. I'm like, fuck, like that was really close. I could have ended up really bad. So I change into different clothes, and I book it to this girl I was seeing's friend's house, and I tell her all about it, and I was like, fuck, like that could have been really bad. And then, what do you know? Shit went down there too, with some other drug addicts. So, if you want to hear that story, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below if you want to see more stuff from me. Subscribe. Follow my links in the description as always. Hit the subscribe button if you want me to make more content. As always, I love y'all so much, and I'll catch y'all on the flip side. It's so hot in here. I'm fucking sweating. The devil's lettuce.